Gail Simone is in her bag once again with Uncanny X-Men issue number 23 with the special guest appearance that nobody saw coming. Where Monsters Dwell Part 1. Yo, what are we waiting on? Roll that intro, cuz. Yeah. What's going on, Geek Corner? This is your boy, Earthsmack the Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Orange Phoenix Media channel. So today, we are covering Uncanny X-Men issue number 23, and once again, Gail Simone is in a bag, and you want to stick around to the end of this video because you will hear my personal review on Uncanny X-Men. So let's get into this. One thing that stood out to me in Uncanny X-Men issue number 23 is the wholesomeness of this book, especially at the first part of this book, because a bedtime story is being read to Butterscotch by Mr. Saint Jr. And what I mean by wholesome, you see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to tell you the story that he was reading because I want you guys to go to your LCS and get this book so you can get this bedtime story on your own. But as he's reading to Butterscotch, Butterscotch is like into the book. Like, yo, what happens? What happened to Johnny's horse? What exactly is going on? Only for two individuals to eavesdrop on this bedtime story, and that is Becca and Jitter. So Becca's basically saying, you know what? You know, this is kid stuff. You know, Jitter, don't even worry about it. You know, we can go ahead and go to bed. But the cute thing about this, because it leads to a snowball effect, because the story was so good by Mr. St. Jr., they really stayed. It's like, listen, we can go in a minute. Like, I want to see how goofy this gets. And you know how teenagers are. You know, like, teenagers don't want to admit when things are cool. So you kind of leave that little bit of a mystery out there, and that what makes it cute. But that also leads to Ransom pulling up, and he like, yo, what are you two doing? And they both shushed him. They shushed him like, yo, we need to find out what exactly going on, Val. The Rawhide Kid is about to be hanged. So it goes from Ransom, Becca, Jitter, and now it goes to Death Dream. He's like, yo, what exactly is going on? And now all three of them like, yo, shh, be quiet. It's just him. Like, yo, be quiet. Listen to the story. Find out exactly what exactly is going on. So this is the part that makes it real wholesome to me. Because one thing about parents and grandparents, they don't have to know you for a long time. No, whether if you know, biologically part of the family or adopted, they know their kids. Okay. And these kids, you know, are in high school. You know what I'm saying? These kids are in high school just adjusting. But one thing you have to realize is none of these kids, none of the outliers had a normal childhood. Okay? All of them are mutants, and they didn't really have like the bedtime stories and going out to the playgrounds and having, you know, other kid friends or whatever the case may be. That part, you know, was pretty much whisked away. And so now they're getting this from Mr. St. Jr. because without him even looking, he says, y'all might as well come in because the story is just getting good. And he's like, oh my, it looks like the robot dog went and chewed some pages, but it's okay. I remember the story, how the story goes, sure enough. And that what makes it wholesome to me. The fact that Butterscotch has siblings. And we, as readers reading Uncanny X-Men up from issue number 1 all the way up to now, what the Outliers been up against, who they've been fighting, and we're talking life and death stuff, they really didn't really have a chance to be kids. And this moment give them that chance to be kids. And I know that memory is going to last with them until the end of time. You know what I mean? And the thing is with Butterscotch, that she having siblings, she going to have this memory until the end of time. And Mr. St. Jr. is being that person. It's the South, man. It's just the South. It is what it is. It's just the South. Now, from that story, we go into another one, and that is Remy LeBeau. And Remy is having an intervention, okay? Like, everybody's concerned about Remy because he's been disappearing in the middle of the night. What exactly is going on with Remy? And Rogue tells him, he said, listen, you got to listen what Sodarang said. Sodarang told you if you get the left eye of Agamotto, eventually your hunger will grow. Eventually you're going to start eating live animals, and then you're gonna start eating people, and eventually you're gonna get to your friends and your family. And unbeknownst to Remy, he didn't know this. Rogue was like, look, you took a bite out of me. Gambit took a bite out of Rogue, and not in a good way. Huh? Okay, he broke skin. All right, he broke skin. And Rogue was like, you didn't break anybody's skin. You broke my skin. And the only way you could break my skin is if you have that Eye of Agamotto, because nobody can really break my skin like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let alone you. You know what I mean? So that right there was indicative of this Eye of Agamotto, because it is getting stronger and stronger as Remy is holding on to it. But the thing is, it is changing Remy, because Jubilee even says, listen, I was a vampire at some point in time, but I die if I had to feel that way again. It's like, it's the eye. It's murdering who you are. And it really is changing Gambit, because he's saying, okay, guess you're going to have to take this from my hands. Like, we're going to have to scrap. And that is unlike Remy. Remy would have just handed over. You know what I mean? Like, he would have just done that. But the Eye of Agamotto is mystic. And even though they are mutants, they don't have someone that is like master of the mystic arts. And Sodoran gave him that warning, and apparently he didn't heed that warning, and it's getting a little crazy right now. I'm glad we get back to that point. Now, they did have a little scrap, but when we get to that special guest appearance that nobody saw coming, and I'm talking about Elsa Bloodstone. Yeah. Right? And I will give you a little bit of what she's able to do once we get to the end of this issue. But she comes out and says, did we come at a bad time? And Rogue was like, I know you. You Bloodsport, right? And Elsa was like, nah, not quite. And that's a little insulting that you don't know my name. But it's Elsa Bloodstone. And she was like, what you want, Elsa Bloodstone? She's like, look, that's a bit of a funny story, really, Miss LeBeau. Things have been going quite nicely for you, like, of late. Wouldn't you say? Like, you know, my father famously refused to hunt your kind, said you had free will when the world thought you were all monsters. An early mutant advocate, really. And look how that's changed. You're getting a mini mall. Now, somebody interjected like, we're not getting a mini mall. Now, you are getting a mini mall now. Like, the locals like you're going to have your own district. She said, look, a nice warm place to live, adoration of the locals. What about our kind, Miss LeBeau? And Wolverine's like, listen, I ain't got time for none of that shit. Like, where's Jubilee? Because things going to get serious really freaking quick. And Nightcrawler like, yo, relax. Again, miss, what do you want? The house doesn't belong to us. It belongs to the Watchers. It has for 300 years. And Elsa's like, you think we want a rundown farm, Mr. Wagner? Like, we don't want your farm. We want ballrooms, nightclubs, opera houses. Our leader, she wants juke joints and elegant restaurants. But above all, we want to be able to walk in sunlight again, like the kings and queens we were meant to be. Do you hear me, X-Men? Do you understand? We want New Orleans. And yes, they do have Jubilee, man. They do have Jubilee, and that is the end of the issue. One thing I got to give you a little bit of background. So Elsa Bloodstone made her first appearance in 2001 with Bloodstone issue number 1. Now, I will tell you, if you want me to cover Elsa Bloodstone, let me know in the comments below. And yes, we will cover Elsa Bloodstone and what she's able to do. Now, she actually is going to make an appearance in Marvel Rivals. So if you really want to know her play style and all that, you definitely want to play some Marvel Rivals. Also, with her abilities and how she was able to hold her own against the Uncanny X-Men, she has superhuman strength, speed, durability, and endurance, regenerative healing factor, immunity to vampire bites, expert marksman, use of mystical items. Now, the immunity to vampire bites, that might beg the question, especially if you haven't read anything about Elsa Bloodstone. What is her relation to Blade? Has she had any run-ins with Blade? The answer is yes. She was once a member of the Midnight Suns. So just to put that out there, and who knows? Like, I mean, obviously Elsa Bloodstone did make an appearance in Werewolf by Night in the MCU. So maybe she will make an appearance again later on down the line after Avengers Doomsday, or maybe within Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars. We just don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen. But the one thing about Elsa Bloodstone is that she's not at the forefront like a X-Men or a Spider-Man or Incredible Hulk or the Avengers or something of that nature. And she's one of those obscure characters. It's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy in ways, because a lot of people didn't really know what Guardians of the Galaxy were until the movies came out, and then people start buying the Guardians of the Galaxy books. So, and I credit James Gunn for that. But the thing is, with Elsa Bloodstone, I love the fact that Gail Simone is hitting us with these special guest appearances and hitting us with these obscure characters, because that brings them up to the forefront. That, along with what's going on in Marvel Rivals, with her making an appearance there as a playable character, that puts her at the forefront to a point where that kind of pushes the comic book reader, like, let me read more about Elsa Bloodstone. Let's go to our LCS and go in our backlog books and find more stuff out about this character. So I do love the fact that Gail Simone is doing this. And I'm gonna just tell you straight out, Uncanny X-Men as a group book, that is the best X-Men title, honestly, because I feel like it has an identity of its own. You got attached to the characters, especially the outliers from issue number 1 all the way up to this current issue. The fact that Kurt got his old lady, and the fact that the town loves them, and it's in New Orleans and it's in the South, and you got all this lore here. Like, honestly, this book has character. It's not a regurgitation of stories that we've seen in the past. Honestly and truly, it feels like I'm back in the 90s, like reading these books, like, just, we don't know what's going to happen. Like, stuff just pop out at the pages. And this book has culture. I really do like that fact that, with the Uncanny X-Men and what they're dealing with, and they're dealing with the freaky nature of it, because they're dealing with monsters right now. They're dealing with monsters. And I like the fact that it going off the rails. That what makes this book unique. That what makes it awesome, because that's why I felt some kind of way about From the Ashes and all that. Well, no, not From the Ashes, but Age of Revelation. Yeah, with Age of Revelation, that's why I felt some kind of way, because you took Uncanny X-Men from me. You took Storm from me, because these stories were good. These stories were the best ones out of the whole shebang. But now that they are back, it's all good. It is all good. Again, if you want me to cover Elsa Bloodstone, let me know in the comments below. And also, if you read this issue of Uncanny X-Men, let me know how you felt about Uncanny X-Men. But you already know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell, because when you hit that notification bell, get that little drop down box that says all. That way you get notified on all of our content, whether it's live or recorded. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.